Hello everyone, Daria here and welcome to another lesson. Today I'm gonna explain to you how to make the process of learning Russian super simple and how to get a lot of fun on the way. So stay with me and let's begin. I'm speaking about stories, of course, storytelling. By the way, in Russian it's истории. Stories. And why using stories in learning Russian? First, we like stories. Everybody likes stories. We like stories. Since we're little kids, remember in childhood, our parents used to read or tell fairy tales to us. So it's in our human nature since childhood to like stories. Number 2, stories are easier to remember. Easy to remember. Easy to remember. What do I mean? Imagine that you've learned a bunch of words, several nouns, several verbs, adjectives, adverbs, and they are all just, somewhere on the list with translation. And imagine now you're trying to learn them by heart, one by one, and of course it doesn't make any sense. It's just random words for you. Now imagine that you put them into a story which has some character, some action, it has composition, beginning, culmination, and the ending. Remember how, for example, you can recall the plot of some movie that you watched like 10 years ago, but because there was some plot, some idea, some movement and action, you remember it better than some simple description of some stuff, for example. Same here, if you put the new words, the new vocabulary in context and make it a story, it will be much easier for you to get this connection in your memory and to remember it for a longer period of time. And number 3, emotions. Emotions. That's what makes us to remember things much better. I love dealing with my students' emotions in my class. I always try to use some absurd, ridiculous stories, so I make my students laugh or being shocked and saying like, what's going on? Are you crazy? But I see that they remember it, and after a year, they still can come to me and say, remember this? I'm like, I can't get rid of that story. And after that, they remember vocabulary, they remember grammar constructions because of this. What do I mean by absurd stories? I've already told it in my previous lessons here on YouTube, but I will repeat it again. So it's not just some random character, some Maria, for example. Yes, Maria. We don't know anything about Maria. Who the hell is Maria? It can be anyone. So if you say, Maria учитель, Maria is a teacher in Moscow, and she has a family. Everybody has a family. Nothing special about it. The very next day, people will forget this story. But if you pick something absolutely unusual, for example, some elephant, слон, elephant, Billy, слон Billy, who is working as a manager in some fashion magazine. Elephant working as a fashion magazine, but somebody tells him that he gained too much weight and he should go. The more absurd it is, the better. Why to use absurd stories? Why do we remember them so good, so well? Because we usually remember unusual things. For example, imagine that you work as the person who checks the tickets in the cinema. So you go the ticket and check, you go. And thousands of people go past you during the day. And suddenly a guy in a costume of an elephant appears. Elephant. How do you think, having a dinner with your family, would you tell them about that? Would you remember anyone else there? No, I guess you will tell about some crazy dude in the elephant costume, and you will remember it a year after that, I am sure. Or maybe somebody yelled at you and made you really angry. Somebody was yelling about this ticket at you. So again, sitting with your family, you will complain, this one, they made me so sad. So it's about emotions. Over 1,000 of things, we will pick something emotional or something unusual, like that dude in the elephant costume. So that's why we make ridiculous stories. So it's a tip for teachers who teach any language. Actually, use this in your lessons. And it's the tip for you students who learn the language by themselves. You can implement this in the process of learning in your schedule. Add stories. So as soon as you get several new words, don't just put them in your little dictionary or what you have, cards, flashcards. No, put them, make some story. Pick the characters from your favorite movie or comic book, Spider-Man, Superman. Use anyone who makes you emotional, who brings you good memories from your childhood, anything. And create some absurd story about it. It works perfectly. So that was it for today's it's not even a lesson, it's just another tip for learning Russian or any language, stories. And I invite you all to my free podcast. It is called TPRS Russian through storytelling. Right there I practice with stories and it improves your speaking and listening. I will put the link below this video. And if this video was helpful, if you liked it, please press like, because that's how I understand if it's useful or not. And of course, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. There is so much more to come in this channel. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next lesson. Bye bye!